I have a hard time speaking and expressing my anger. I've been watching a lot of Jasmine Masters. Jasmine Masters. I keep wanting to say Jasmine Mathers. It's Jasmine Masters. What? And they really are really good at expressing themselves, and they're really eloquent. Well, they get the point across, and I like what they say a lot of times, and they're really good at talking, and I'm not good at talking. And I'm only doing this now because my brother turned on the TV loud, so I feel like I'm not being listened to, spied on inadvertently. And another reason is, like, whenever I want to get on camera, I want to look good. I'm in my pajamas, my hair's not brushed or anything like that, and I feel gross. But then I end up never filming because I have a little bit of ADD, amongst other reasons, and it just gets put off to the side. Another reason I don't want to film is look at my surroundings. It's dreary, drab. I don't know how much you can see from this, but I want to be in an environment that's pleasing to look at. Another reason I don't want to film is who is this for? Who is gonna watch this? Who cares? Because this isn't like Jasmine Masters when she talks. It's like a lot of people can relate to what they say. I can relate to what they say, and I'm not a drag queen. I'm not a man. I'm not black. I'm not a minority. So, but still, what she says is pretty universal, and it's, she tells the truth a lot, like things that need to be said. So who is this for? I think this would be for the like my parents are never gonna watch this. I don't want them to watch this. I don't want anybody in my circle to watch this. I want strangers to watch this. And I would want these videos to be for other individuals who hoard and who have loved ones that are affected by that hoarding. Just so you can get like a third party, stranger, outside perspective of what it's probably like for your children and the people you lived with, to what the suffering looks like, sounds like, from their point of view, to watch you live in those conditions. I think that's a pretty good reason. Otherwise, it's like, who else am I going to talk to about this? Like, if I want to express my anger, who would care to listen, And another reason I don't want to film and talk is because growing up, it was never taught to me how to express myself when I'm upset and angry. Both my parents are kind of passive when they're angry, and they kept their thoughts to themselves, especially my mother. She's the type that would just, if something was making her upset, she'd just stop talking and leave, and I do the same exact thing because I don't know how else to do it, but I recognize that's not healthy at all, because it leads to a lot of miscommunications and unresolved hurts and a persistent feeling of resentment towards the person who hurt you. So that's, I want to change. I want to break this cycle. I mean, I'm definitely not a hoarder, so I break the cycle that way, but emotionally, I think it would be helpful to try to get my thoughts out as easily as Jasmine Masters can do, because I'm totally not that type of person. People who know me know I don't talk well, and I'm pretty introverted. I don't like to share my thoughts at all unless they're good, because I have this philosophy. I don't want to spread pain. I don't want to make people uncomfortable. I don't want to bring up things that share and distribute that pain and make it grow. But the way Jasmine Masters talks about things, I realize like there's a way to do that where you don't have to bring, encouraging, empowering, inspiring, instead of like when I watch their videos and what they say, if it's like, she's angry about stuff, so it's not fun topics, but the way they talk about it, it's entertaining, for one, it's informative, for two, and other things, I don't know. So this is just practice to try to, I want to be like that. I want to be angry, properly angry, and it's gonna be a long journey, but I have a lot to be angry about, and like another reason I don't film, adding on, is because I'll act it out in my head what I would say, and it sounds great, and it's like similar to how Jasmine Masters would say it if she was going through that thing, and then I'm like, great, I did it, and then I don't film it. Plus, like, I don't know, this is gonna be on a new account because I messed up. My main YouTube account, I added work to it, so now it's all mixed up, and I don't want to, like, I don't want this to affect my boss or anything, so. Plus, my channel's already all over the place because I'm not good at organizing things. So, like, I'm filming this on January 2nd, 2026, and I honestly don't know if or when it's gonna go on YouTube because that's just how my brain is. And I wonder how much of it is genetic, like the ADD thing, and how much is because I was brought up in these conditions. Because okay, let's take a look around. So this is my old bedroom. Those are my posters. Those are my dolls from my grandmother. This is all my stuff. And this is a side note. I can't believe I'm saying this on film. Finally. So you know how, like, when you're in a wealthy, well, you wouldn't know, in a wealthy family, in like history, things are preserved because there's a strong sense of like lineage, and they have pictures on the wall of their great grandmothers and grandfathers, and it's like, oh, my lineage goes back this far, and he did this, and you have all this knowledge about your predecessors. You have historical artifacts from them, like, oh, these are my grandmother's letters to her husband or whatever. And my family, we don't have any of that, right? So I figured, besides the lineage thing, it's also like, you know how, like, historical artifacts, like, especially like small stuff and like stuff that gets destroyed easily, like paper things, they're hard to find because not many people care, like, what am I trying to say? Like, oh, this is what ads used to look like in the Sears catalog in 1950. Like, people think that's cool because it's rare to find, because back then, it's like just an ad. Why would you save that? But then years and years later, people think it's cool because in the ad, it's like, oh, that's how they dressed. Oh, that's what the hot new product was of the day. That's so funny, or that's so interesting how far we've come, how the fashion's changed, all stuff like that. So my thinking is, if I ever have a kid, or if anybody else in my lineage has children, and then their children have children, etc., I'd like to start something like that, you know? That's mostly, and in my case, it's mostly journals. And the journals would be like, oh, look how messed up grandma was back in the day, which I think would be helpful if the things I go through are genetic. If they're going through the same things, I think it would have been helpful to say like, oh, it's not just me, because look at what I'm reading, like they went through the same thing. You know what I mean? Besides journals, it's a lot of schoolwork, which I think is in the vein of like historical artifacts that might be interesting to look at, like how the education system was back then, what kids were studying at that age and how that has changed over time, you know, stuff like that. And you know, I'm just one person, and this is my own form of a time machine, and I wrapped it all in cellophane because you know, none of that is archival paper, I'm sure, so I was trying to preserve it in some way. Anyway, I digress from that. So yeah, that's my stuff. All the clothes in the closet are my mom's. A big part of her hoarding is clothing. It's just overflowing everywhere. Let's see. Everything on the floor is because I'm here and there's nowhere else to put it. I realized my underwear, which is clean, is sitting out, so I'm gonna skip that. Let's go this way. This is the bed. And there are writings on the wall that I put here that disturb me, but I understand it's because I was living here for like 23 years. So it's just sad, and I'm not gonna share that right now, but I will share it later. This is like mostly my mom's stuff, just, you know, VCRs, just a bunch of random shit, basically, mixed up with some of my stuff. This is all, I don't know what this is. Overflow, excess. There's some, like, what? I don't know. There's occasionally, like, a book or something that's mine, but it's just a bunch of shit, basically. Okay, here we go. I don't know. The bookshelf is mostly my stuff. There's a random sleeping mat up there for some reason. You know, a bookshelf should contain books, so I don't feel bad about having that there, you know? You know, that's what a bookshelf is for, but it's just overcrowded now with random shit, like the sleeping mat, vinyl gloves, and then no way to access it. That's the thing, that's a big thing in this house. It's like clogged arteries, like severely clogged arteries, like all the throughways are clogged. So even if you have the item, there's no way to get it. And I was, the other day at the restaurant at Norm's, I was telling my folks the joys of sleeping in different beds with me and my husband, because I know it's like a boomer thing, like, it's like, oh, you don't sleep in the same bed? But to me, it's a luxury, because I like it a different temperature, I like a different mattress firmness, and I like, you know, not having my blankets pulled away from me, or having his large body sprawled and then like hit me in the face, you know? Because that happens, because he's quite a large man. And it doesn't mean like we don't like each other. It just means, and he's comfortable in his bed too. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so I was, you know, sharing this with my parents, and then my dad started, you know, complaining like, yeah, man, I wish mom didn't have the AC on so much. And I was like, well, you have 2 bedrooms. And he didn't say anything, because he doesn't want to acknowledge that this bedroom, this is one of them. I was saying you have 2 extra bedrooms. This one has a bed. You know, I use it when I visit, but it's open otherwise. And the other bedroom for my other brother, I'll just show you. I'll show you right now. But I'm not going to say anything because I don't know who's out there. Okay, now that door doesn't close. I don't know how much you saw, but there's no way to access the bed. There is no room. It's another thing about hoarding that I don't understand, is every time there's a space, it has to be filled. If it's a shelf, it has to be filled, like completely filled. If there's a shelf, it has to be filled. If there's a box, it has to be filled. There can be no open space, vertical or horizontal. Everything, there's nowhere to look for a sense of a break. Like, everything is busy. And I guess, like, in this room, because it was my old room, like, that spot right there is okay. You know, it's got a few glow-in-the-dark stars. And this space is fine, you know, it's blank space. That door is just disgusting. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but that is not a good space to look at. But out there, you know, in no man's land, there's nowhere to look if you just want to, like, rest. And I just don't understand that. I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna eat now.